Here we are again. Okay, so it's starting to boil a little bit. You want to make sure to stir it. Keep it mixed up good. I have it at kind of a low to medium heat. And should notice like a good gray color. That's usually a good sign of your doping agents mixing in. But you can see it's starting to boil. It's starting to melt. Kind of want to cook out some of the water. Give her a good stir. I'm using a little copper stir, which is not necessarily the best thing to be using because it's kind of conductive as far as heat goes. But it's what I got. Leave me alone. And yeah. Let's party. In fact, it looks and smells somewhat like male copulation. I thought that'd make her laugh for sure, but I guess not. Maybe it was just too crude. Maybe I'm going too far.
More like worried.
Now that you're looking at it, you're like, oh, whoa, it's got a point there. I got a point somewhere else,
Not
too.
suitable for children.
Yeah, right. Oh, come on. Kids don't know what copulation means. Alright, and if it's clumping up and not quite boiling like you want it, turn up the heat just a touch. I am actually going to use the spoon here to smash it up a bit on the sides, just to make sure that all the doping agents get good and mixed in. It's taking a little longer than I thought. Usually this takes a little quicker. This is a little faster process. It's not boiling as fast as I did last time, or the time before that, but not the time before that. Let it sit for a second. Hopefully I made enough. It looks like it condensed a little bit more. It's always, there we go, now it's starting to boil a bit. It's always best to overshoot rather than undershoot. Also, if you notice when I cut this, I made this part of the magnesium kind of, even if it's plush, it sticks up a bit. I did that so that you could have a tab for it to put your alligator clip to or whatever. Alright, there we go. That's what we want to see. Turn it down just a touch. Give it a good stir. And you'll know it's just about done. It starts to form a nice little crystal layer on the top, and you know that's going to crystallize for you. And it's starting to do that. If you just let it sit, kind of like soup skin. Yep. There she is. See that? Like soup skin. So it's good to go. Now the tricky part, pouring it. Screw it. So it's okay if you get it over that middle tab. I'm gonna turn this off so I don't burn myself. It's okay if you put it over that middle tab because you can just clean it off before it dries. Just layer it in there, and you want to make sure to get some on the outside to prevent it from shorting to the outside of the copper. And it looks like I might be a little short. Oh, maybe not. There we go. All right, now this copper is going to be kind of hot. I'm just going to wiggle it in, pack it down a bit, like so. It's starting to warm up a bit. And you see that it has these little bubbles. You want to pop that so you can get to your electrode. And also take your little poker stir stick, and make sure you get all on the outsides. Make sure that you fill up all the spaces as much as possible. It looks like it made just a perfect amount too, so I lucked out. And if you don't do this and pack it down, the crystal will really rise up high, and then you have issues with the leads. It's a little hot. Oh. So all I'm doing is just kind of moving the magnesium around and making sure that the outside of it, like that, gets a nice little layer to it without scraping the copper too much, because I don't want to get rid of the sodium silicate that's on the outside. But you want to try to saturate as much surface area of the magnesium as possible. There we go. All of it. Man. And I did luck out on the measurement on this one. I did perfect this time, which is awesome. And another thing is, if this was more machined and produced properly, you could compact the cell a lot better, and it'd still probably give you the same results as long as you twisted the magnesium enough for surface space. As far as surface space, because the more surface space, the better the current will be. Or I guess it'd be the columns, or the more storage capacity that the battery would have. It's almost like a lid motor was saying a good example. It was almost like a diode battery or a diode capacitor. It's a little strange. Like you can go over its voltage state in charging, and it actually holds a little more, like a quick discharge capacitor, but then it just goes back down to usually 1.7 is its standing voltage. And I haven't quite tested the current yet, except for just this little setup I have on it. So there you go, crystal cell. Still hot. And while it's hot, we have to do our last and final process. And I will be right back.